for a limited time, $1 gets you full access to all the automotive industry news and content CBTNews.com has to offer. CBT News. Subscribe today. Welcome to CBT News with Bridget Fitzpatrick.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to CBT News. I'm Bridget Fitzpatrick. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's Chris Riggins with today's top stories.
Thanks, Bridget. Starting off our coverage, the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates once again, this time by 0.25%. However, Fed officials have backtracked on previous forecasts by Bank Chair Jerome Powell, who suggests that increases could continue throughout the remainder of 2023. The Federal Open Market Committee, the group responsible for making rate adjustments, now says that future decisions will be based on incoming data, which they will, quote, closely monitor to assess the implications for monetary policy. While it continued to warn that future disinflationary measures may be necessary, the board also suggested that such revisions could come in the form of policy firming rather than additional rate hikes. Up next, Ford has informed investors it expects to lose $3 billion on its EV business in 2023 alone. This will bring the automaker's total 3-year loss on electric vehicle products to $6 billion before 2024. However, the brand assured shareholders that it remains on track to achieving an 8% EV profit margin by 2026. This estimate was provided ahead of a meeting to explain the automaker's new global sales reporting system. Rather than accounting for separate regions, Ford will now split the data by product type. In 2022, the company made the majority of its revenue in the U.S., finishing the year with an EBIT of $9.2 billion. Consumer spending on new vehicles hit an all-time high in the first quarter, according to a new report from J.D. Power. Buyers have spent over $132 billion on new cars since the start of the year, breaking records for any single quarter in automotive history. For March, spending is on track to reach $50 billion, the second highest for the month, and 5.5% more than the same period in 2022. This month's dealer profits are also positioned to reach $4.1 billion, finishing slightly lower than last year, but still well above pre-pandemic levels. And wrapping up our coverage, Tesla has told employees it expects the base Model 3 will lose its $7,500 EV tax incentive after March. The vehicle is the brand's cheapest entry, and until now, customers have been able to claim the credits with their purchases since they became available in January. However, previously delayed sourcing requirements for the EV battery components are expected to take effect in the coming weeks. Since the cells used in the standard Model 3 are made in China, it is likely to lose its incentive qualifying status. The revised guidelines are expected to arrive before next month and could have a widespread effect on the market. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Mike Sullivan, LA Car Guy founder and CEO. We'll be right back.
Delivering the news dealers count on for 10 years. Subscribe today and join thousands of other automotive professionals. CBT News, 10 years strong.
The last time we spoke to Mike Sullivan, the LA Car Guy, his operations had expanded with the opening of a 13th dealership, a Genesis store. On this episode of Inside Automotive, we're catching up with Mike to see how things are going and if there are any more acquisitions in their future. Check it out.
Let me ask you, how is your business today? A lot of dealerships are reporting that they're getting vehicles in, maybe in some cases not the right vehicles, and I know that this is very specific to certain brands. Some brands are getting vehicles into their dealerships while others are still struggling. Where do you stand in your group?
It even gets more micro than that, some models.
Yeah.
Yes, well, first of all, good compared to what? Business is good, life is good. January and February are never our biggest months, and we had a nice start of the year. Compared to 22, no, it's just okay, but that was an unrealistic year. So very good and solid, and it feels, it's awkward with interest rates, especially. The economy is you can certainly feel the economy. We started about October, November of last year. This isn't today.
Right.
So that part is stable, but down a notch. Inventory is in fact slowly coming. Mm-hmm. So that's like you say, more gas SUVs that may or may not be the perfect car for today. So the gas cars a little bit more, but the hybrids, plug-ins, BEVs are all have great turn rates. So it's good. It's just not as silly as it was last year.
Sure, sure. You mentioned the plug-ins. The rest of the country outside of California is very nervous about these plug-ins and about EVs in general. About, will there be a market? I mean, we see all these OEMs, moving their fleets to an OEM platform. What do you say to those dealers outside of California? Should they be concerned? Do you think there'll be a big enough market nationwide for all of these EVs that we see coming?
Nationwide gets to be a bigger problem. Let me start more locally. So ours, Santa Monica especially, has been the epicenter for 25 years.
Sure.
We jumped into the world with Prius and all of those early electrics.
Right.
So this is easy business for us, relatively speaking. We're building big charging stations, big, fast, high-powered charging stations at all the stores, and we're attacking it. One of the reasons Hyundai was so attractive to me is the Ioniq division in Santa Monica. That should be just a natural. We're seeing it come along at a very slow pace. Yes, it doubled over last year, but that was a factor of nothing. So it doubled from 2 to 4, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So the numbers are still incredibly small, and they're growing arithmetically.
All right, be sure to watch this interview in its entirety right here at cbtnews.com. That wraps up our show for today, but we invite you to join us back here again tomorrow morning for all the latest news and trends impacting the retail automotive industry. And be sure to follow us on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Bridget Fitzpatrick. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content. Join the #1 most watched newscast in the automotive industry. CBT News. Subscribe today.